tonight was a foul fest, which is going to be, it's part of the evolution of this thing. But it's definitely tough when you have the champion who gets knocked out and it's a DQ because of a foot foul. So these are growing pains you got to deal with. Much like I always say in the UFC, we stack the card with tons of great fights. So something we'll come away from and make some adjustments and changes and try to fix it next time.
And what kind of adjustments can you make? Because, I mean, you either have to change the rules or...
Oh, no, it's not changing the rules. I mean, this is what we do. I mean, when you look at... It's so hard to explain to people today about what it was like in the UFC in the early days because nobody was here. Everybody wants to act like, oh, the UFC, whatever. Nobody was here. This is my second power slap event. There's 3 times the media here than there was for the first 5 years of the UFC. Okay, so to try to explain the stuff that we had to go through back in those days, it was much more difficult. This is much less difficult. We'll figure this stuff out. I went through COVID. We'll figure this out. The stream again was massive. We're gonna pull millions of viewers tonight. The sweepstakes that we did, which is big, I saw, as usual, people talking shit. So we do sweepstakes with the UFC all the time. It's nothing new. This isn't anything different than what we do in the UFC. We did 115,000 entries tonight for the sweepstakes. The biggest one we've ever done with the UFC is 200,000, to give you an idea of how big tonight was as far as that goes. It didn't happen with the UFC. I was just saying, there's 3 times the media here tonight for our second event than there was the first 5 years of the UFC. I mean, I even remember going into the Ultimate Fighter, and there were actually MMA magazines and shit like that at the time that didn't cover the Ultimate Fighter, which ended up being the biggest thing. Literally the launching pad for the UFC. And pulled massive numbers at that time. And the MMA media didn't even cover that back in the day. So this is not anything that I'm not used to.